Mousehole. We're on the Kingfisher Lake, and I took the last peg as I've won it the last 2 years in a row, so I thought I'll just have whatever's left, give them a chance. And they've only gone and left me peg 7 on Kingfisher. Happy days. The peg I wanted. Never fished this peg before, so we'll see where it brings out. So we were doing 2 rods only due to the lake being full. And there's 14 anglers on here. This is the April session. We've got one in September too, but I've got some of the old cut basics, and I've got the red lobster crunch on my left rod, which is a rod length off the corner of the island. Some fish have come out during this last month in that swim, so I thought I'd put some there. I'm feeding some red lobster pellet out, mixture of corn, some grounded up boilies, some chopped up boilies, and soak them in the red lobster glug as well. So that's my left rod, and on the right rod I'm in the middle in the open water. I've put 2 bait boats worth of bait out, and then I'm sitting on it, top with it, with a red lobster pink pop up. That's on a helicopter setup as well, so trying to avoid, if there's any big soot down there, avoid it sinking. And that's what I'm going with for the first few hours, maybe till about tonight. If I don't have anything on it, I might change it up a little bit. I've got a few ideas. I do have the red lobster wafters as well, so if the pink boilie don't present me with anything, I'm going to go with one of these. This is the red lobster wafters, also from Carp Basics. If you've not tried their bait, I suggest you do, because it smells banging, they look brilliant, and what they do these mixed pots, so you get some dumbbells in there as well, which is ideal. The one thing I do is keep buying pots and pots of different types, fills your bag up. So yeah, weather's great, nice and hot. And there's nothing else obviously to report yet. I'm just going to sit back and enjoy. I'm not, don't get me wrong, everyone comes fishing to catch fish. But if this is my time to go in at home empty-handed, then I can't moan. But I'm just, one fish will do me, and we'll see what happens from there. But both rods are out. It's about 9 o'clock I think, so give it till about 2, 3ish, then rods in the water, and I'll rebait up, give it another go till about 6ish. I'll probably leave them overnight, and if that red lobster doesn't produce me anything, so as I was saying, if it doesn't produce me anything by tomorrow, I'm doing a 36 hours, I'll go and buy some of the nut woolies that they have here, which look very interesting. They look like live systems, so, and then switch to a yellow pop-up. Maybe. I don't tend to bring a lot of bait, just because you end up constantly changing your bait and stressing about, have I got the wrong bait on, have I got this on? I strongly believe if you leave your rods out there long enough and you're constantly baiting up the same bit, eventually the fish will find it, eventually you'll have something out. So yeah, so I'm just going to sit back and chill, and if anything changes I'll keep you informed. So, do an update. So on my last day, it's Sunday. I've not done many videos on this trip, just because there's not been much to report. But a note to myself, I've had swim 7, which is meant to be the luckiest peg on the lake. Don't get me wrong, I've had a fish. I've had a 20 pounder on Friday night, in the evening shall I say. So I'm not coming away from it blanking. But I thought it would have done a lot better. There's not been many fish come out of the lake. I think altogether there's been 8 fish. 2 coming from swim 4 and 5. No, 4 coming from 2 on 4 and 2 on 5. Biggest being about 26 pound. I think that come from swim 12. So, it's been quite a hard weekend fishing. I do think if the aerator, the water pump, was to turn off and stayed off the weekend, I would have had a lot more fish. Now, a lot of people were saying the fish are probably used to the pump by now, but it turns off and on. So it'll come on for an hour and a half, 2 hours, and then turn off for another hour and a half, 2 hours. But I don't think that's doing the swim any favours, because you're baiting up and all of a sudden this pump turns on and these fish can feel the vibration of the water being pumped in, and the sudden turn on of it being turned on is panicking them, and they're scattering away from where you baited up. I think that got proven on when I had the fish as well. It was off when I was in the swim underneath the pump, and when it turned off my rod screamed off. So all I could think of is that it was feeding on my spot. That turned on, it's panicked, and it's got hooked as it's panicked, which done me a favour I suppose, but also plays on my head that every time it turns on it's spooking the fish. Yeah, they probably are coming back, but I feel like if that was turned off I would have had a bigger result. But I'm not using that as a get out. It's still very hard fishing around the lake. I've done well just to have one, but on the swim 7 I should be having a lot more, being the favourite swim. But that's fishing, I suppose. That's why we call it fishing, isn't it? Otherwise, if you was guaranteed to catch, I don't think the chase would be so exciting. But apart from that, I had it on a pop-up, the carp I have had so far, which is my first fish on the pop-up, because I'm not a big fan of pop-ups. I don't think they're natural, the way they sit up in the water. But every fish has been caught near enough on a pop-up or bait topped with a bit of pop-up. It was on a yellow pop-up. I can't remember what brand or bait it was, because all my yellow pop-ups that I had at the beginning were mixed. So, because I put them all in together because I was getting rid of them. I'm on Pacific tuna last night, about 5 o'clock in the morning I'd say. I had a decent run on my right rod, which is down the margin to the right of me. It's the only place that I've seen fish show, like jumping out. Now, I had it down there on Saturday, yeah, about midday, because I see it jump twice. It was down there for 3 or 4 hours and not even a bleep. Knowing that it's still going back to that corner, I carried on baiting up down there and left my rod there overnight. And early hours in the morning I had a decent run, but behold me, I struggled to get out of the bivvy. Time I got to my rod, the line was slack, and I think what it is where it's behind, pretty much behind my rods, the swim, it swam out, the line's gone slack, and it's managed to chafe the hoof a little bit, so it's managed to get the hook out. So I tightened back up, being 5 o'clock in the morning, and gone back to bed, which really I should have baited up, but what I've done is I got up this morning about 7 and rebaited up and put it straight back down there again. Threw a couple more handfuls of bait out, and I've just left it there since. It's about, I think it's about 10, 11 o'clock now. My left rod I've put on Pacific tuna wafter, and I've stuck it up the island because I did leave the island alone last night. I stuck it up underneath the pump, under the tree where the bailiff said was one of the good swims there, which I had the fish from, to be honest with you. So I had both rods up on the right hand side, and now I've stuck the left one back up on the right hand side of the island, which I've had a couple of bleeps, but again the bleeps only went off when the pump turned back on again, which is telling me that they're feeding in the swim, but the pump is spooking them a little bit. But hey ho, it's the way it goes, I suppose. I'm not going to do loads of videos, I'm just going to do little short ones, just because it's bore you to death for talking. Apart from that, I've really enjoyed the weekend. It's been lovely weather. It's been cold at night. I don't really feel it, to be honest with you, because I'm quite wrapped up in my bivvy. I'm here till probably start packing up about 2:30, leave about 4ish. And hopefully I can scraggle another one before I go home. But I'm not recasting. I put the bait boat away now, slowly tidying up a little bit, getting rid of all the rubbish. And that'll be it, and I'll be off on my travels, all ready for the next one. So we see what happens, but not much to report. It's been quite quiet, but it's been enjoyable. It's been a nice weekend. Speak to you soon.